Hello, everybody. I just wanted to make a video about another thing that I've done recently. Now, the last time I did this was for Madam Web when I saw that movie. I did another one, but I never uploaded it for a different movie. But this time I'm going to be talking about a game instead of a movie that I played through recently. Um, I played through Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2. It took me about a week to beat. It was about a 30-hour game. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun playing it. Now, I can't really make a lot of comparisons to Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 1 Overclocked, which I played also kind of recently. I beat it, but I started playing it about 4 years ago. I kind of got stuck at a point and then I dropped it for a long time. But I picked it up and beat it probably about 4 weeks ago, yeah, like I said. And it's a lot of the early stuff isn't super fresh in my memory, so I don't remember it as much. But I really enjoyed Devil Survivor 2. I thought it was a great game. The gameplay style is kind of similar to Fire Emblem, where you're like on a grid, you have all your units, and each unit will have like special abilities, different stats that can be used differently, like physical skills or magic-based skills. And each party you can have up to four. Can have like a little sub party where it's like two demons and one person that you assign. And I think that leaves a lot of room for customization, so you can have one party that's like, oh, this party's really good with physical skills, this party's really good with magic skills, this is my healing party. And it's helped out by the skill crack system, which is a really cool system where it's like, if the person that you assigned to crack a skill, like let's say you're fighting demons and you want to get the ice attack skill, it's called Bufu. You select that, and then if that party that you selected to crack the Bufu skill kills that demon that has it, you unlock it and you can equip it to anybody that meets the stat requirements. Now, this only works with the human party members. Demons get skills through fusing. Basically, like, you have two demons, you fuse them together into another one, they get stat bonuses, they can inherit skills, and then they have their own unique abilities as well. And I think that's really unique. It makes for a lot of like strategy in some early battles. And it's helpful up to the final boss, because the final boss has a skill that you can crack where it will, every time you have a little battle, they're called skirmishes, it'll restore your like HP and MP, which are your magic points. What else? The gameplay, again, is very good. It's very strategic based. I found it a lot harder than the first one, which, even though I didn't get stuck on the second one like I did the first one, when I went to do the final boss, I got it on my first try. I think when I got stuck on the first one, I was doing Naoya's route, which is like an equivalent to the Chaos route, which I'll expand upon a little bit later. But yeah, I beat the first boss on like the first try. I'd gotten stuck on like day 6 before, and then after I beat that day 6 boss, I kind of just breezed through the rest of that first game. But with the second game, I had in some ways a lot harder time, in some ways a lot easier time. A lot of the normal bosses, like the Septentriones, which are like every single day of the game because it takes place over the course of 7 days. Each day has a boss called a Septentrione, and they were pretty easy for the most part. The only one I had issues with was the third day one, I believe. It's called Megrez. It's either the third or the fourth day one. And even then, that one I got on my second or third try. So for the most part, the base game was a lot easier. A lot of the bosses weren't really a huge deal, but the last boss did give me a bit of a run for my money. It took me about 7 or 8 tries probably to get it. Still a lot easier and a lot less time consuming than the final boss in Strange Journey, which had an incredibly bullshit skill, but also took a lot of work to get. but yeah, so getting off the gameplay and going more onto the story, I really enjoyed the story of the game. Now I know if you look up the game on like Reddit or GameFAQs or whatever, the common consensus is that the game is a lot better. Like the gameplay is a lot better with improvements made on the first one, which again I can't really comment on, but that the characters were a lot worse. And again, I can't really comment on that either because kind of near the end of the first game with the route I was going, the surviving characters are just like, yeah, we're gonna take over the world, and they're very much just talking about like one thing where it's like, yeah, we're gonna make your main character the emperor. Basically, he's gonna get all the power and become emperor over all demons. So in but in the second one, I did actually enjoy the characters a lot. I think that there's some pretty decent humor. There's good writing. It's very like anime tropey, like, and I've heard that the first one isn't as much like that. And from what I remember, it's not very much like that. But it has been a while, so again, I can't really comment. I can say that the second one, it is very anime tropey, but the characters are quite interesting. I really liked Fumi, who is like a mad scientist character, hacker. She's very like distant, which I do like. I liked Otome. She's like a nurse woman, and she is like very worried about her adopted daughter while the fucking apocalypse is happening. I think that characters like Io have a really good arc where she basically learns to. She's kind of like a quiet person, and she talks about how she's like scared to talk about things because she doesn't want to divide people and she doesn't want to like cause strife. And she kind of learns how to come into herself more as the game progresses, and I really liked that as well. I thought it was well done. So yeah, in this one I went for the law route, which is typically in Shin Megami Tensei games they're like there's basically the apocalypse is typically caused by like a demon invasion or like a trial by God to test humanity to see if it's worth anything. Otherwise, he's gonna wipe it out and refresh everything. But in this one, it's a bit different. I mean, it's still kind of a god that's trying to wipe out the universe and rebuild it. And in the end, when you're like talking to that god, it seems like he's siding with you. He's like, oh yes, I want to build that future for this planet as well, which I don't know if you go Yamato's route, the chaos route, which is very like hierarchy based. Like Yamato is like, I want to rebuild the hierarchy, and that's why I think the apocalypse is happening, because weak people are being coddled by society basically. And in this game, the equality or the law arc is more like the representative Ronaldo is talking about like equality and discrimination in Japan and how he wants to end that. He wants to build a world where men help each other out. He seems to basically, like, from the little that they talk about the ideology or from the depth that they go into it, he's like a communist basically. He wants people to help each other instead of having like a merit-based society. It's from each according to their need, from each according to their ability to those according to their need. And I really liked how it was written. I really liked how it was handled. The ending, I think, is very well done. And yeah, I think they give you a good amount of time to be able to actually think about the choices that you're making with those routes. The neutral representatives that they showed throughout the game, I feel were kind of weak, and I don't necessarily like the neutral representative is Daichi. The chaos representative is Yamato, who's like, I want merit-based society, and I think the weak should be called, basically, which is typical chaos stuff for these games. And yeah, Daichi and the other like neutral characters are just like, well, I don't really want to fight anybody, and everybody kind of seems too extreme, and I don't like that, which is, they're just very much like, yeah, I don't want to fight anybody, and that's how it's like kind of handled the whole game, and again, I think it makes sense, but I feel like it's not as well developed as the law or chaos route, where they're very much like, yeah, I want to change society, versus neutrality, which is just like, we should just go back to the status quo. And I mean, that might be a criticism of all of them. That might be a criticism of law and chaos as well, because they're both very extreme. I know when I played Strange Journey, they were also very extreme. The law and chaos representatives and their like story and the world that you build, it's very extreme, which I think is really cool. What else do I want to say? What else do I want to talk about? I just think it was a great game. That's most of my thoughts on it. It took me about 25 hours to beat. I played the DS version. I didn't play the 3DS remake Record Breaker because I haven't hacked my 3DS yet. But maybe one day I'll try that one out. I really liked it, though. I recommend it. Again, it took me about 25-30 hours to beat, but I have a lot of experience with these SMT games now. I've played through Persona 4, Persona 5, and I've played Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey, Devil Survivor 1, and Devil Survivor 2 now. Yeah, I hope I convinced you guys to give it a shot, because it's a really fun game. You can emulate it on, I don't know how to say it, the DS emulator. It's like DESMUME. And there is like no touchscreen usage in the game whatsoever, so it's really easy to emulate. I played it on my DS right here. I have a flash cart for it. So I just downloaded the ROM and played it on the actual hardware. And I recommend it. It's a great game. I also recommend Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. Or if you have a 3DS, I recommend the remakes, even though I haven't really played them for Strange Journey or Devil Survivor 2. I've heard that the Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker is really great, and that the stuff that they add really fleshes out the experience in a good way. I haven't really heard that for Strange Journey Redux. I've heard in some ways it's better, in some ways it's worse. I'd probably recommend it still if you have a hacked 3DS, but I wouldn't recommend buying the cartridges because they're like fucking stupid expensive. So yeah, that is, again, that's all my thoughts. Give the game a shot, and let me know what you think if you do. I hope you all have a good day.